The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. On that day, as evening drew on, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us cross to the other side." Leaving the crowd, they took Jesus with them in the boat just as he was, and other boats were with him. A violent squall came up, and waves were breaking over the boat, so that it was already filling up. Jesus was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. They woke him and said, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" He woke up, rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, "Quiet, be still." The wind ceased, and there was great calm. Then he asked them, "Why are you terrified? Do you not yet have faith?" They were filled with great awe and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey?" The Gospel of the Lord. Originally, I thought it might be too hot to preach, but then the second reading, Paul says, love compels us. So whether it's hot or not, we got to do it. One of the reasons I really enjoy the Gospel of Mark is that gospel throws out all these little phrases that kind of catch your ears and your eyes. Today, Jesus says to his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side." The other side. Something tells me that Mark isn't really thinking geographically with that phrase. And of course, given the story that follows, we know that he's not. Crossing to the other side through the water evokes, of course, the Israelites crossing dry shod through the Red Sea, a movement from slavery to freedom. And in the story that follows in the gospel, crossing to the other side becomes baptismal. It is a journey through death to new life, as the disciples cross safely because of the presence of Jesus. I also wonder, in referring to the other side, if Mark might be referring to faith itself. Jesus does calm the storm and the sea, saving his disciples. We tend to think that miracles produce faith, or that miracles are a response to great faith. And either may sometimes be the case. But what happens when there is no miracle? Would the point of today's gospel passage really be all that different if, as the boat was being tossed about, if a couple of the disciples fell into the waters and drowned? Our first reading today is from the book of Job. It's one of the oldest texts in all the scriptures. Job loses just about everything a person can lose. His livelihood, his children, his house, his health. And through it all, he refuses to deny God. Through it all, he remains a person of steadfast faith. Nowadays, the question of innocent suffering often becomes a reason or an excuse to disbelieve in God. Sometimes I think people act like this is a brand new, clever idea that no one's ever thought of. It's as ancient as the book of Job. It goes back like 3,000 years. It's not new at all. Yet people walk away from their faith because they're hurting, they're disappointed. Despite their prayers and sacrifices, their child died anyway. They didn't get the job that they were sure they deserved. The scholarship fell through. Faith is pretty easy when we have what we want and have what we need or think we need. But the deeper point of faith, the other side of faith, is not to believe after the sea has been calmed, but to believe while the storm is raging, when the wind is whipping around us and the boat is floundering. The Apostle Paul reminds us that God did not spare his own Son. Words that we should keep in the back of our mind from time to time as we gaze on a crucifix. God did not spare his own Son. So how dare I or any of us consider ourselves or those we love somehow immune from suffering, be it deserved or not? To be people of faith, faith that really means something, we have to separate faith from results. Faith believes regardless of results, because our faith isn't in the result. It's in God. And faith understands that even before God calms the storm, God is already present in the storm, in the whipping wind, and in the engulfing sea. God is present with Job as he loses his children and his cattle and his home and his health. As we sing year after year on the Feast of All Souls, God is here. God is always here. And as our young people learned this past week in Vacation Bible School, the God who is always here is trustworthy, come what may. Welcome to the other side.